Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing an Emerald of Belveth game. We're going to be looking at, always the consistency, always fundamentals, but today we're going to be more focused on how you can actually climb. It's not just about learning today. We're going to be focused on steps you can take to purely win games and not just learn. So, let's take a look. Okay, so first thing I will um, mention is we have the top quadrant um, not guarded. What I mean by that top quadrant not guarded is you're sitting in the bot lane while no one's defending your Raptors. So they could easily have gotten a ward on your Raptors here, and that's, Vi could just walk in and see and just go for the ward. Um, so if if I'm going to give you the best advice, you're playing level 1, every single game, this is what you want to do. What you want to do is at around, so early game, at around 45 seconds, go walk into the enemy Raptors and drop a ward. So I'm going to talk about the two lines you can take. One is going to be a natural game. The second one is going to be an invade game. I've been teaching you natural games. You want to climb an invade game, can be something you can look into. But regardless, at 45 seconds in the game, every game, you're going to drop a ward here if your teammates are with you, okay? Or here in a natural, like, no one's with you, you're by yourself. You can drop it in their face as long as they do not have, like, sweeper or something. Because if they have sweeper, obviously um, they will sweep it away. But otherwise, having that ward makes a huge difference, and you want this every single game. Okay, make sense?
But like, does it make a difference? Because I mean, it only makes a difference if the enemy is going to level 3 cheese. I think at least because like if we're full clearing, I sort of know that we're full clearing anyways.
So it does two things, right? It tells you where they're full clearing to, and yeah, it tells you, if they're going to gank a lane or not. But the big thing is it defends your mid lane and defends your bot lane. Let's say the enemy jungler wants to do red, Krugs, Raptors, and go through the gank mid like this, or go gank bot like this. He can't. You have a ward there, right? Or you at least have lingering vision. The enemy jungler does not feel safe to ward there. The big thing though is if she's not spotted on Raptors, you have a general idea of where she's pathing towards, which is pretty much essential. You want to know if she's going to Raptors or like which direction the enemy jungler is going towards. Alternatively, if you don't want to go for the Raptors ward, you just must get a ward on the buff. The buff is also just as good on either buff. Every single game, this is something you want to do
Okay.
on any of these buffs. You just want to drop some number 1 vision. Okay, to help your jungle talk. The next thing is you're playing champion like Belveth, right? Vi is very weak early. Level 1, you're so much better of a champion. What we can start trying to do, because you have some form of consistency and fundamentals already, is what you can start trying is late invade level 1 every single game.
Harry, can you just wait 2 minutes? I
Yeah,
ordered food and I'm going to get it.
no worries. Go grab it. No worries.
I'm back.
Hello, welcome back.
I'm back.
All right, cool. So what I was saying earlier was invade. What you want to do every game from now on is if you most of the time, I would say 9 out of 10 times, your level 1 Bel'Veth going to be stronger than enemy jungler. There's very few cases where you're weaker. You are going to start invading level 1 almost every single game. Okay?
But like, don't I rely too much on my teammates helping me in the level one invade?
Right,
Because like, if Cassiopeia doesn't push, or if Fizz doesn't push Cassiopeia in, she can just say, "Hey, my guy is getting invaded, so I'm going to kill him."
right. So we have Ghost, right? That's number 1. Number 2, um, if the Cassiopeia comes to Okay, so let's talk about invades real quick. Pretty much, when you're invading, you're pretty much generating a lot of pressure on the map because if someone comes to stop you from the invade, they lose the pressure in the lane. If Cassiopeia is pushing on the Fizz, that means her early game is stronger and likely, like, unless she keeps winning early game, she's going to be weaker. Fizz level 6, a lot stronger than Cassiopeia level 6. The easier Fizz's lane is, the easier it is for Fizz to win later on. Okay? Invades in general, if you invade without your teammates, so you invade later on, you go 126, 127 as late as possible. You invade the Raptors alone. No one is going to come mess with you level 1. And if they do, you just leave. Or you can fight and play the smite fight. The big thing though is people do not ward for the level 1 invade. They are not going to ward right here. They're not going to ward right here. It's very, very, very uncommon for junglers to do this. And if they do this, what you can do is you can sit in this bush or sit in this bush. So if you're on red side, you would be sitting in this bush and see and wait to see if they ward. The last thing is you would go sweeper and you would try and find the ward. And even if you're spotted on the ward, you can one-shot the Raptors and still live. Almost any mid laner level 1 is going to be not that useful.
I
Okay,
see.
it's because your champion level 1 is so much stronger. So I do this on Kayn every single game when I was climbing a challenger the first time. I would be the biggest cheeser ever. I lane invade every single game. And what happens is because laners sometimes don't leash, Vi is going to be the enemy jungler is going to be doing the red buff possibly, right? You're going to be doing the Raptors. After you're done with the Raptors, you save smite. You can come find the Vi and see if she doesn't know you're there. She doesn't know you're there. You just win the smite fight because you're level 2 and she's level 1. And normally you win the smite fight, right? Because she has no idea you're coming. So you win the smite fight, you get both camps. And if she starts her blue buff, then you full clear the bot side and then you try ganking bot lane depending on what the wave looks like. And if there's no gank bot lane, there's like because your laners are pushing, you can either dive or just clear your camps. And what's going to happen is now you have a whole quadrant worth of EXP and gold ahead of the enemy jungler. You're going to hit level 6 so much faster. You'll be able to get an objective on Dragon or Herald. So when you do this invade line, if you're unable to get a gank on the exact same lane, you're on the adjacent lane. So if you're unable to do this and then gank here, what you're playing for is to get level 6 as fast as you possibly can.
Mm.
Okay, so you don't want to waste your time. You know, after you clear this, if there's no bot play, there's no bot gank, you want to clear all this as fast as you can, and then play your tempo, play a normal game, and you just play the game with a different timers in mind, but it's the same thing. That's where fundamentals and consistency comes in. Okay, so it's still important to be consistent, but what you want to do from now on is, if you're playing a standard game, okay, at around 40 seconds, go walk in and drop a ward. If invade line level 1 invade at 126. You don't need your teammates unless you want to play the fight. Take sweeper, and real quick, I'm going to draw this out for you so you can see the pathing you need to take. So pretty much, you're going to be sitting here, and you're going to sweep, and you're going to have to walk like this through the middle. Because sometimes junglers, if they know the ward spot, they ward right here. And this ward catches everything. Here, I can actually drop the ward down for you to show you. This ward, if you drop it like right here, this you still get seen here. You're too big, pretty much. The champion. So what
Mm.
happens is if you walk down like this and you can skip the sweeper, it's really bad it's really bad to not see the ward. If they have a ward, you must spot it. So you have to take the pathing through the middle, okay, and go for the Raptors. Pretty much after you do the Raptors, what you're going to do is you're just gonna drag it down and you're going to try and smite steal this. If she's there, it's on you. I believe you can win the smite steal. You're level 2, right? And she's level 1. But the other thing is you don't have to just play the smite steal. Let's say the HP on the buff is 1100, right? Because you can clear this really fast. What you can do is you can play for the fight. You can play to try and kill the Vi, or the enemy jungler, before she finishes the camp, before it's a smite fight. So those are the two options. If the enemy jungler is in the top side, like we were talking about, you do all the bot side and gank bot lane, otherwise you go clear all your camps.
Okay, what if they leashed? Do I stay in the bush and try and wait for like they do drugs and try to kill them?
So if she got leashed, right? What's gonna happen is if she got leashed and you're here and you pretty much you're going to see it, right? You're going to see that like the camp is not there. You just leave. You purely just leave. And what's going to happen is now the enemy jungler cannot gank bot. Why? She's level 2. Most junglers cannot gank level 2. So you pretty much defend you defend your bot side pretty much. Okay? And now you have, you have all 6 camps to do. So which camps are you supposed to do? Um and um that's dependent on um if your top laner is strong or weak. So if your top laner is a strong champion, you do Raptors, he does red buff, okay? If your top laner is winning, they have prio, so this is back to basics where we have to track prio, okay? Your top laner has prio. What you can do is you can play to do your bot camps and then sequence up normally and you just are up a camp. And what you can do is you can ask your top laner and your mid laner to potentially ward defensively right here or right here. So you need to still use your pings, okay? And if your top
Mhm.
laner is weak and he's not a strong champion, okay, what you want to do is you want to run from Raptors. You want to gank mid level 2. You're going to burn this guy's conditions and clear your top camps. And the sequence is not Raptors to red buff, it's Raptors to Krugs and then red buff. Because
But then if
Raptors,
I do this,
yeah, go ahead.
won't he take my? If I do this, won't he take my blue and rope?
So it's possible for him to take your blue and Gromp, but because the enemy ball lane is leashing, you again ask your ball lane to drop a ward here. The thing is, he'll be level 2, and your bot lane is fully aware of what you're doing as long as you're communicating. If your bot lane wants to help, they will, you know, go drop a ward pretty much. They will go check. You can ask your support to drop a ward. So you need to be
Mhm.
communicating to all of your teammates when you play this invades line. You need to either be typing or pinging. Pinging normally works to let them know what's going on. It is an option for them to do that. It's on you to watch and see what's going on. Let's say your top laner is hard winning. After your top camps, you can invade. After, if your bot lane's hard winning, your bot lane can come defend. Pretty much, you'll be able to solve the map when it comes down to it. The more practice, the more you'll see, how to play it out. The most important thing when you do these invades is you cannot feel forced to make plays and gank lanes. This invade sequence is for you to play as selfish as you can till you hit level 6, so you have a level 6 to level 5 advantage, guaranteed. That's the glory of this path. If you can gank a lane early, then you can still prioritize ganking lanes as much as you can. But if there's no gank early on, you want to hit level 6 as fast as you can. So what I mean, if there's a gank early, what would happen is you do camp, then gank bot. That's if the gank is early. Otherwise, you prioritize level 6 over anything else. Unless,
So
real quick, unless of course you're tracking waves and you're very aware that there's a guaranteed play and you can find that, that's when you will break your camps and not.
okay. So the point of this playstyle is to instead of uh, spending my tempo helping lanes, I spend my tempo invading the jungle.
So that's just the first clear. The rest of the game, you do not need to reinvade this. You do not need to replay. You do not need to you just don't need to go back in here. The point is level 1 if you surprise the enemy jungler, which most of the time you will, they do not know what to do when their camp gets stolen. They panic. And they get upset. They get tilted. They pretty much, you put the enemy jungler in a mindset where they don't know what to do, and you have an advantage from that. And it also unlocks an opportunity to go Raptors and invade the red buff. And there's hundreds of games where I did this, and I just instantly win. What happens is the enemy jungler mental booms completely. Like they just can't play. They don't focus. But most of the time, it's pretty much to disrupt the game because you have some sort of fundamental, some sort of consistency now. Even if the game gets a little bit messy, you can still find yourself up and pick yourself up and put yourself in a good position. Most of the time, the enemy jungler will not be able to do that. So by messing with the enemy jungler on level 1, you pretty much give yourself a mental advantage, a game state advantage, and you just unlock opportunity that wasn't there before.
I see.
Cool. So every single game, this is what I want you to practice. There are some games where it's completely fine to play a standard game. When you're playing the standard game, go drop a ward. This is the cheesiest, sorry, not the cheesiest, the easiest way I got to Challenger when I was first climbing. I won so many games because I would lane invade every single game. Recently, I don't lane invade as much, but honestly, I really should be. My champ is not that weak level. Personally, my champ is not the strongest level 1, but lane invading in general, even if your champ is weak, that's even better. They don't expect it. They don't think you're going to lane invade anyway. Like, come on. So lane invading in general just really, really, really makes the game, disruptive. It opens up a lot of opportunities, and you have good fundamentals now. You can take over the game no matter what. So take sweeper. Take sweeper. Okay.
Okay.
All right, this is something I want you to practice. This will help you, not cheese out wins, but get wins. It's still very important to play the rest of the early game. You're focused on objectives, waves, and tempo, but the level 1 just gives you an instant acceleration in the game. Okay, there might be, you have to try on error with it because you don't normally invade, and I normally stress not invading. You have to try on error with it. You're gonna learn a little bit on how it works. Eventually, you'll find you'll find your flow pretty much. But early game, oh sorry, early stages of this practice, don't expect too much, and if it doesn't work, just keep practicing it. It will work. This invade is OP. Okay.
Okay.
Still remember objectives, waves, and tempo. I know we talked about this before, but it does never changes. Objectives, waves, and tempo. And even if you have a really good early game, you must remember the mid game is really, really crucial as well. So I'm going to go through this early game. We're going to see where the early game mistake comes through, and then we're going to talk about things we can do. But the other most important thing I want to think about is our mid game, because normally that's what I saw last time was a big problem was your mid game.
Yeah.
So your mid lane dies level 1. Okay.
And I was really thinking about ganking there, like, but then when he died, I just couldn't.
Yeah, it's impossible, and she's also recalling at a really good time. If she goes for that third wave, you can gank her, but because she's not, you just do your clear. This is completely normal. So what happens here is you spot the Vi. Okay, you spot the Vi very late. That's a big problem here. So right now the enemy bot lane is getting ganked right now. So you have to be really cautious here and watching lanes as closely as you can, because you lose. Look at how much time you lose, right? You could be pulling the red
Yeah.
buff all the way over. It's pretty self-explanatory, and you see Vi here, and you're like, oh shoot, I could invade. Okay, so let's talk about why this invade is good or bad. Okay, Aatrox is with you, and Vi doesn't recall. Oh, Vi queues over. Okay, so this ward right here, try to move this ward to here. Okay, it's a small thing, but this is the golden spot for the ward. This is a little too shallow. Okay. The next thing is your Aatrox has a 3-wave crash, so this invade is beautiful. Okay, I really like this invade. The reason why is because Aatrox can come with you all the way, and like you saw, like even though you're strong enough level 1 to do this, sorry, you're strong enough alone to do this, but also you have Aatrox with you. This guy can't do anything. The other more important thing I'm concerned about is you have a smite charge here, and it's not even just about the smite charge. It's the fact that your E is a 20-second cooldown, and I know we talked about this before. When you're invading,
Yeah.
you don't want to use your spells like this. It can get very, very dangerous when you use your E like this.
I
So,
mean, I didn't use my smite charge because I thought I could steal the red buff or the blue buff after, and was
right,
saving to the blue buff because I take longer to kill it.
right. The problem with that though is if Vi is here and Cassidy becomes, like, you need your E, like pretty much if I'm Vi and I know my Cassandra can come this way, and my Cassiopeia can come this way, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait down here, and I'm going to trap you guys. I'm going to trap you guys and make you 2v3. Okay? So
Okay.
I need you to have your ability here so you can have any sort of outplay potential. You can possibly play this 2v3 out and win. It's very likely you guys are in it together as 2, the rest of them are coming as 1, 1, 1. You can play this and win very, very like smoothly. The most important thing is here, just keep auto attacking this. You can just keep autoing it, right? And the
Right.
moment Vi Q's over, just react and smite this. The big thing though is like there should be almost no exception to using a spell like your like Bel'Veth E, or in your case your Bel'Veth Q, but there should be no exception to using this ability almost ever. You almost always need to save that.
Okay.
Okay, otherwise we get this kill and um um we're looking to still do the buff. I think this is completely fine. We take the tempo. This is also pretty good. Okay, we cycle towards the top lane. Okay, mid lane is war. Vi is coming. Makes sense. So bot wave is coming into us. Okay. So one thing I'm looking at here is they have Janna, right? They have Janna. You have Alistar. So one thing, whenever you have matchups like this, what I want you to be looking at is if your Alistar has flash. If your Alistar has flash, it's a guaranteed kill on the Janna or the Xayah. That makes
But
sense, right?
like, does Janna cancel everything?
Well, if Alistar flashes on the Janna or Xayah, like they can't react. Like like how can she cancel it if the guy is flashing through everything?
Oh, I see.
Right? That's why like yes, he can get canceled if Alistar has no flash. If he has flash, it's almost a guaranteed play. That's why when you're around here and you spot the ball wave perfectly and you know it's coming into you, you need to check if your Alistar has flash, because your Alistar does have flash. Your 2v2 your 3v3 bot lane is just very, very winning. Your Jinx, Alistar, and Bel'Veth, and you're strong as Bel'Veth. You have a kill. You want to take this 3v3 bot lane if you can. And
Okay.
so you hold tab here. So Alistar does not have flash, so it's going to be hard to look bot lane. The other thing is if you look at like how they have to play, they must push up for this wave, right? Like we saw, like they're clashing a wave and they must push up. What's gonna happen is it's very likely while they're walking up, Janna tries using spells, and if Alistar saves his spells and comes um to use his spells after Janna, it's a really easy opportunity. Okay, the big thing, the two big things I'm looking at here is your bot wave is good, and you have an Alistar. Okay,
Okay.
you want to punish these plays, especially when if you look at chat here, your teammates communicate that Xayah has no flash. You want to kill Xayah in this position, right? Um, when her wave is this bad, and especially because she has no flash and you have Ghost and you can get on top of her really easily, I would want you to look for this play here. So after your
Well,
wolves,
my thought there is that I wanted to play for the wolves. So
for her
like,
wolves,
not my wolves, their wolves.
yeah,
I wanted to basically like be 1,000 levels ahead of Vi, and I thought, well, Vi is probably going to gank bot because she has nowhere to be. So if my bot lane stays safe and like it's pushing to them, so like it's impossible to do anything to them. Like Vi is going to be losing so much that she's going to be out of the game.
right. So Dragon is actually worth a camp and a half. In terms of EXP. If you get it solo, if you share it, it's worth like half a camp. So if she gets it solo, it's worth a camp and a half. If she shares it, it's worth like half a camp. But essentially the idea is, let's say Vi is trying to fight bot lane. Do you think you win 3v3 bot? Jinx, Alistar, Bel'Veth versus Vi, Janna, Xayah.
I think not because like Janna is good against me and Alistar.
You think he can stop both of you guys though? Janna only has like one ability to stop you guys.
Yeah, so if he stops Alistar, I'm basically 1v3. Because Jinx, I'm going to take 3 damages. 3 people damage. Damage from 3 people.
Yeah.
And
So it's
And
essentially you're not there to instigate the fight. You're waiting on Alistar to go, and if Alistar doesn't, okay, in the perfect world, it's going to be hard to look bot lane. This is true. In in reality though, people don't play the game perfectly. People don't play the sequence perfectly, and when people have a problem, like Zaya and Janna need to push the wave earlier, then they must push that wave. What's going to happen is they're not going to play the sequence perfectly. It gives you an opportunity, an angle to um, punish these guys and win the 3v3. The biggest thing is you have Noon Quiver. Biggest this is one of your biggest strengths um in the like early to mid game, right? When you have Noon Quiver. You're super super duper strong when you have this. So these opportunities, these looks when you make them are very important to kind of look for. Um, because although you are going to be up a lot on the enemy jungler, you're going to be up even more because your Jinx is going to be ahead, and you need a teammate to play through. You can't just play this game by yourself. You need someone to play through. Um, so
but like, didn't like you tell me that like I should try to be carried by the teammates? I should try to carry.
right, but it's not like you're getting carried by Jinx. You're working with your Jinx to win the game. You can get these kills. Jinx can get these kills. Alistar can get these kills. The big thing this game is now Xayah is going to be further behind.
Mm,
You don't need to carry the game by just getting camp advantage. You can kill people and get an advantage that way.
I see.
So the big thing is your thought process. It makes sense. I understand. I clearly see you're trying to play for these two top camps when you're playing like this. But these two top camps are not worth losing Dragon and losing out on a potential 3v3 bot lane that even in theory it's 60-40 their favor. Sure, that's the way you want to look at it. Even 70-30. Okay? The thing is, I would never look at it this way because look at how strong you are. Noon Quiver Bel'Veth level 5. I feel like I'm on top of the world. Okay? And I want to take these fights because Zaya and Janna are forced to walk up and are forced to fix this wave. If they do not fix this wave and Zaya and Janna lose the cannon minion or lose all these minions, that's already worth all of these topside camps.
I see.
So playing through a lane when someone's lane is fucked and you win the sequence because you're strong, you almost always want to capitalize on this. So you're doing much better at looking at waves. The moment Fizz died, you looked at bot lane and you collected some information on what's going on. Um, and like here, and this is great. Now you know bot wave is coming into you, and the big thing is when you have a champion like Alistar, right? I'll give an example. So Alistar, Nautilus, Leona, Rel, you get the idea. Like these champions,
Mhm.
you almost always want to go through bot lane to create a a 3v3 fight. Normally you will win. Normally it is favored to your side. Okay? Especially because you're doing a good job at getting yourself an advantage, right? You're really strong. You want to always fight with this guy. These guys are your best friends in League of Legends. These supports are your best friends. So how are we going to win? How are we going to climb diamond? You must connect. So, if possible, anytime you must connect with your support and create a play with them. So if there's a good wave, good objective timer. Um, so wave, objective timer. Um,
Do you have roaming?
yeah, like roam mid for 3v3, like fight bot for 3v3. Whenever you can connect with your support when they're playing, especially champions like this, you almost always want to do it. So even if it's for an invade on Raptors slash enemy bot camps, like almost at any time, if you can, it's really good to connect and make a play together.
Okay.
So in this game, if you have that in mind, you're going to play with this Alistar here. It's very likely you'll get bot kills. It's essential. It's almost essential to not skip this, to not miss out on these plays. But essentially, um, you playing for this Wolves and Gromp is like fine. You're going to be level 6 like you are here, and you're very strong this game, at the very least.
I see. So like the problem is that I'm playing too selfishly.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Okay, so yes, but pretty much the other thing to think about is it's not that helping a lane is any less selfish because you can take the wave, exp gold, you can take the kill, you can um yeah, I mean pretty much like it is, I guess you could say, less selfish, but essentially like you get to become even more selfish later on if you have a winning lane. So
I see.
it's pretty much like taking a little bit of a little bit less advantage for yourself in the early game to help a lane win, so later on you can play as greedy as you want. You can
Oh, so like the problem with this game, that's like you're telling me to skip top side to actually help a lane is that I don't have a winning lane.
Yeah, you don't have a winning lane. Top lane is not. It's like top lane helped you, and you generated an advantage, and now top lane is like losing. He probably lost by himself, but mid lane's been losing the whole game. You want to try and win somewhere. I saw an opportunity to win in the bot lane. I want you to capitalize on it.
Oh, I see. So like if my Aatrox was slamming Xante and
Yeah.
my mid was even, my like playing for myself, playing for the camps would have been a good idea, but it's not a good idea because no one is. Is that what you?
Yes. Yes. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yes. But I do not want you to skip out on good on plays on waves, even if it's on your weak side. If you have a strong champion like Alistar, Rel, Nautilus, Thresh, what else I said, Leona, because those champions almost always make the bot fights like really easy to win. Like they just have so much setup, like it's really really powerful.
I
But
see.
yes, if your Aatrox is hard winning, go invade. It makes complete sense. Right now, no one's hard winning. Your mid's not winning. Your top's not winning. Like you need to find someone to win through. And now your bot lane, who like they almost win the 2v3 by the way, are well they're winning the 2v2 and then Vi shows up. They're like they need you. They need you to keep winning. So the other thing is you invade the top side here and you get level 6 and your blue buff is coming up and your bot lane is also coming off base. Look, bot lane's the only lane that's like up CS, like they're up 20 CS. They're the only lane that's like doing decent. What I wanted you to do here is instantly recall. You can go do your blue buff. After blue buff, you can help bot lane out. And that way you have Alistar to run around the map with you and roam, and you have a lane you can play with.
I see. I remember that you told me that like my weak side I should only cover for dives. So I mean I created the habit of just ignoring weak side.
Right, but in this position here, your top lane is not even your strong side anymore because he's dying.
I see.
He's like losing. So right now you have like no strong side. This guy's not your strong side. This guy's not like obviously mid. We didn't really talk about. But like this guy like is in theory your weak side because you're cycling up. But when someone dies like this, that's when you have to adapt to seeing that hey like you need to find a winning lane. If this guy's hard winning like we've been talking about, then yeah you can keep going through top lane. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to kind of say that well let's keep going actually. So this game is hard because you don't have a you don't have a good um let me see this. You don't have a good you don't have any hard winning lane, which is really really sucks. Okay, this is not bad. So you want to go for Herald. So ball lane loses 2v2. Then we get the Herald.
Instead of starting the Herald right away, I went straight to like top lane to to say like, okay, is that push this lane, please, and if he fights you, I'm there. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, this is correct. You need to get this top wave in as best you can here. Because if you don't get this top wave in, the Kasante can come and mess with you. So this is good. So now your Aatrox is able to help you and catch his wave. So Aatrox dies 1v1 by himself, like he messes up. Okay. This is all normal. Everything I see right now is like really normal for your game, but again, the problem is right now you have 3 losing lanes.
Yeah.
So in a game like this, the only thing you can keep doing is trying to play with your setup. And the only one who has setup is your Alistar. Fizz is okay setup, but you want to see if you can help your Alistar as much as possible. So I do like you trying to look for this play. One thing I'll say is like, oh, you okay? I see. So one thing I'll say is when you're playing Bel'Veth, use like use as many Qs as you can. When they have an ability to like stop you, use as many abilities as you can to like get pretty much like dodge abilities. So here I would queue up in this direction, then I would queue back down in this direction. I would use this Q and this Q before I cast my W.
Yeah, and if I smite there, I hit my W.
Yeah, oh that's true too. The slow also, yeah. So this is like missed opportunity. Um, oh, and then they TP. Yeah, so just play to live. Right. So I won't say that like the game is going to be won from you making a bot play like that, but essentially if you have a play angle like that you can make, you almost always want to look for it because you have good setup from your support champion, pretty much. Um, it's just good practice, I could say. Okay. So we are ourselves are pretty strong, but then we go for this Raptor invade. So we have 2 sweepers here. We need to use a sweeper. Is the most important thing. But the other thing is when you're in game states like this, dying makes you like lose the game on the spot. If you farm your camps here and you just play naturally, you just farm up. What can happen is you can either gank top lane or you can recall and then like, try to re-gank bot lane. Um, but pretty much I almost never go for these invades unless I have a teammate with me. So even when I was on Kane in the past, like I would never go for this. Like I need a teammate with me to feel safe to do this.
Well,
Um,
what I was thinking there was get the chickens, and after wait, just I wanted to get a game because like at this point I thought, well, I gave up on farming because I have to salvage this game somehow. So and the only way to do this is to like gank, I guess. So I just wanted to gank bot again, and I was waiting for the bot lane to show up, and I was waiting by doing the crafting, not the crafting, the chicken.
the chicken. Yeah. So what you can do is if you want to look for a play like this, you can do 2 things, right? One, you need to dodge the scuttle crab here. So well, the way I would do that is I would go behind the blue buff and then go like this. And or you can go down like this and like Q over the crab and then Q back. But pretty much like if you're trying to make a play on that ball lane, you the way to you don't want to do a camp while you're waiting. You want to find the best position for you to wait in, then make the gank happen. You can't do the camp and then gank. It's like it's just too it's you can't multitask it. You need if you're trying to make the bot gank, then get into a really good position to make the bot gank. Or if you're trying to do the camp, like play for the camp and get out. But it's like the biggest thing here is you need to use your sweeper. Your sweeper needs to be used here because this could this could have a pink here, this could have a pink here, this could have a pink here. Any of these wishes could be regularly warded. This could be warded. Like down here could be warded. You didn't check any of the spots that could be warded. That's the biggest
Yeah,
thing. So regardless of which angle, which play you're trying to make, I need you to walk through this bush. I need you to use sweeper. I need you to check this bush with sweeper, and check this as well. Okay. The big thing though, the rest of the game is going to kind of like maybe it's winnable because your teammates wanna win. It seems. Wait, did you win this game?
no, we went so close, and then I got caught.
Okay.
If I
Um.
didn't get caught in the end, I would have won that.
Yeah,
It was very winnable.
yeah, happens. But I will say the big thing is when you have a play to make with your strong support, you must make that play. So what I want to do is we're going to break down. So um, pretty much you have the three main concepts to think about at all points, and it's interacting with waves, it's playing for objectives over kills, waves over kill, playing for objectives over kills, and playing for tempo to connect with your strong side slash create a strong side. So these are the three main concepts for you to always be trying to think about. Always trying to think about if you can ever interact with the wave and generate an advantage with the wave, you always want to do it. If you can play for objectives, because you're playing good tempo, you're playing good waves, you always want to do that. And if you're playing for tempo correctly, well, you should have opportunity to play with waves and opportunity to play for objectives if you're playing tempo with your strong side. But these three things are things you always want to be thinking about, um, essentially at all points of the game. Um, and to break down the game even further, so we talk about level 1 invade. So when taking Herald, at level at minutes 7:30 or before, you always want to be level 6 and be on the Herald right at 8. So if not on the Herald, if you're not on the Herald at 8 mid, it must be because on mid slash top fighting 2v2 slash 2v1. So if you're not in the Herald on spawn right at 8 minutes, let's go back to this part right here. Not here. Right here, it must be because you're fighting through a lane, which is what exactly you were doing here, right? You were fighting through a lane. But the idea is every single game you're trying to get Herald, like you always do. The timer for Herald is the moment it spawns. The moment it spawns, you want to be on the Herald. Okay, so every
Yeah,
game, this is your time. This is your time frame. 7:30, you want to be level 6. Right at 8 minutes at Herald time spawn, you want to um, be either in mid lane or top lane fighting to get generate prio to generate advantage, or you have to be hitting that Herald right on its spawn because you already have prio in mid and bot lane, or mid and top lane.
yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty
Okay.
much the early game. Your goal at level 6, still try to interact with waves. The mid game, I'm gonna break this down into two things. If ahead, so in the mid game, we never want to force plays. Force plays. We still want to follow the three concepts of waves, tempo, objectives. Okay. In the mid game, we also want to connect with our strong side teammate. And what we do with our strong side teammate is we use our strong side teammate and move them around the map with us, or we win the fight with them. So connect with our strong side teammates and generate plays on waves slash objectives with them. So I know we talked about this a long time ago, maybe at the start, but pretty much if your teammate, your strong side teammate, is not fighting the dragon with you and is trying to break top tier 2 or break top tier 1, you must go break top tier 1 or top tier 2 with them. You do not kill yourself on the dragon, even if it's their dragon, even if it's soul. Unless you think you could steal it, that is, for soul. But even if it's their dragon, you do not kill yourself for the dragon. What you do is you're trading. Essentially, if you're behind, we always want to trade objectives slash map pressure. So if enemy is doing the dragon, we want the top T1 slash top T2 slash top camps. If enemy is breaking our top turret, we want to break the enemy bot turret slash take enemy bot camps. Okay, this rule must be applied at all points into the mid game, and ideally you trade objective/map pressure with your strong side. So you do not want your strong teammate contesting the dragon if you think you're too weak to fight. Okay? And if we are ahead in the mid game, we want to take as many and then I'll also try to generate any sort of number to fight by tracking where people are. So for example, if you know the enemy jungler is making a play somewhere else on the map and you can create a 2v1 or a 3v2, it's very good to try and create those plays. Okay, we want to take as many fights as we possibly can without forcing things. So what this means is if your teammates are trying to fight on every wave, we can try and help. We want to help. Otherwise, if they are not, just keep farming. So furthermore, if you want to try to how does this? You want to try to ping/discipline your teammates as well if they are going too deep. So if they're too far, they're too hard forcing things, like they're not that strong and they're forcing things, you want to try and stop them with your pings. Okay, but this is pretty much the mid game rule. You always want to be on the objective on spawn about 30 seconds before, or about 30 seconds before, and doing it ASAP. Okay, so in the mid game, if you're ahead, you want to be doing objectives always, all the objectives you can. Do not chase for kills. Do not mess around. The moment the objective spawns, if you can do it, do it. Do not play for kills. Do not chase anything. Okay, if you're behind, what you want to do is you want to trade. While they do the objectives, you're getting pressure elsewhere. You're doing something else on a different side of the map. Okay, and in the mid game in
Okay.
general. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and in the mid game in general, this is the rule we must follow. We must connect with our strong teammates and generate plays with them and no one else. No one else unless there's someone else that is just as strong. Always with our strong teammate. Okay, so we have the early game, which is try to lane invade, try to get a summon advantage. Okay, and after we get summon advantage, we still want to be interacting with waves, but otherwise we want to be level 6 before Herald. When Herald spawns, I don't care about bot lane anymore. You're trying to get Herald, you're going to get Herald. You're going to play with your mid and top lane. Okay, after you get mid and top lane, you ideally get Herald. Again, you're not trying to force anything. If it's impossible, if it's not possible to do the lane mid, if it's not possible to do the Herald, don't force it. You cannot force things if you want to climb. Forcing things does not make the climb easier. Okay, you cannot force things, period. Okay, but if there's a good angle to fight mid, a good angle to fight top, a good angle to the Herald, you always want to do the Herald over anything else. Okay,
Especially as Bell.
especially Belveth, exactly. So I'm pretty much giving you a game plan for Belveth. Okay, upon entering the mid game, right? So let's say you have Herald. Okay, let me write this out. So when we have Herald, what we want to do is save Herald for as long as you can, until you get first item and have good conditions. Then use it. What I mean by this is when you have first item, full HP, good HP, and you can use Herald, what you can do is you can use Herald and then still fight afterwards. What you don't want to have happen is you don't want to summon Herald and have to run away after. You want to be able to summon Herald and then fight. So let's say your bot lane is hard losing this game, right? And then Vi's gonna come 3v2 bot lane. Okay? And then your bot lane is just gonna die. What you could do is you can go top lane, drop Herald top lane, and get 5 plates top lane potentially. Why? Because you're creating a 2v1 numbers advantage. And you'll have good conditions, you have Kraken Slayer, you have full HP, you'll be in a good spot to still fight top lane, even if someone else comes to stop you. But almost at all points, you want good conditions, and then you use Herald. Okay?
Okay.
After we use Herald, and like then you pretty much come into a game state where um this is just other notes. Now you come into a game state where you're either ahead or behind. So after you use your Herald at around 14 minutes, at around 13 minutes, that's where you kind of need to get into the mindset of the mid game, where if the enemy jungler is ganking ball lane over and over again, I want to make a play top lane as much as I can to generate an advantage there before interacting with my ball lane. Okay, and if you're ahead, you want to match the enemy jungler. So ideally match where the enemy jungler is. Okay, and
Okay.
so to close out games in the mid game. Okay, try to set up. Try to have the if you're ahead when ahead, try to have the T2 slash on top the T2 towers top and mid broken, top and bot broken. Try to pull the Baron with vision setup. Setup turn. Do not flip the Baron. Try to force the enemy into making a try to make the enemy feel forced by just keeping a consistent. But pretty much the big thing when you're trying to close out games is um the essential thing, the biggest thing is do not die. Do not get caught. Do not make solo plays. That is the biggest thing. If you can follow this rule, you will win a lot more games. You cannot die in the mid game, you cannot get caught in the mid game, and you cannot make solo plays. So if you're in a 5v5 team fight and you die, it's acceptable. If you're in a 5v5 team fight and you're getting picked off, somewhat acceptable. But if you're in there, you're getting caught by yourself, you're dying by yourself, you're making solo plays, you're going to lose the mid game no matter what. If you're ahead or behind, you will just lose. So you need to be
Yeah.
really aware to stay with your strong teammate. Okay. Any questions about how about any of this?
Uh, I have a question about bounties specifically.
Okay.
Like, how do I say? Sometimes I'm winning a game. I have like a 700 gold bounty. I like die once and then lose the game because it went to the carry. Should
Right.
I like if I see an opportunity to just I don't know die to the support? Should I try to do it or is
No.
it stupid?
That no, do not do that. What you want to do is you just want to focus on keeping your conditions as high as possible. So the idea is like if you are that strong, you should never feel forced to make plays. You should never feel forced to go in too deep. You should never feel forced to like be too aggressive. When you're that ahead, the more defensive you play, the more cautious you play, not defensive. You still want to be proactive. The more cautious you play when you're making proactive plays, the easier the game will be. You want to be in their face as close as you can, but as safe as possible. Right? So if I would draw this out, um if okay, let's say like, hold on, I need to try to picture this. Let's say like ignore all the champions, ignore the league map. I'm just trying to use it as a drawing board. Actually, what I could do is I
Okay.
could do this. So let's say this is you, right, and this is them. And if I'm gonna get smaller. If this is you and this is them, okay, and right here, if you cross this line right here because you're trying to kill them, you're in danger. So all this is danger territory. All this is danger territory. What you want to do is you never want to go past this line. You want to go as close as you can and dance and pretty much just go back and forth. Go back and forth. Go back and forth. And what they're going to do is they're going to walk closer because they're not sure what's going on. Generally, when people see this, they walk closer. And eventually they'll come close enough to where instead of you having to hit them all the way over here in the danger zone, you are able to hit them over here. Right? And now the danger zone, which is still this, it's closer. So now you can go into the danger zone and out into the out. Essentially, in team fights, you never, ever, ever want to go past the danger zone for too long. You want to go in and then out. So if they're this far deep and you have to go all the way over there to try and kill someone or try and like be useful in the fight, you don't want to do this. It always is danger territory, right? You want to try and pull them to come closer to you, and the way you do that is again by kind of not literally dancing, but like jitter clicking here and waiting, and they will come.
Oh, I see.
So the idea is you want to play to your limits. You want to still be in their face, but you cannot be killing yourself. You cannot go so deep to where you're losing all your HP or you're getting yourself killed. So, for example, I will try and pull out a part in the game where you're strong. Okay, so here you're very strong. So like looking at yourself here, essentially right now you're in this is all danger territory. Why? It's her auto range. You want to stay at the edge at all points and kind of see what's going on. Okay, and what's going to happen is at the edge, if Zaya walks back into you, you can potentially use another Q and W to get on top of her. But pretty much you lose all your HP bar here. You almost land it, sure. But if she ever is trying to trade up in here, like again, like look, because she came back in, right? Look what she's doing, 1v3, and she gets hit by all
Mhm.
this, right? So essentially, you want to try and play like this the entire time. This is good. Some players, when they do this, they'll keep going. They'll just keep going forward and kill themselves. Okay, this is good. Walk backwards, Q backwards, and guess what Zaya does? She kills herself, or she at least makes her conditions really weak. Yeah, she dies. Nice. But that's really good. So you pretty much did the concept perfectly.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
can you go back in the game
uh
uh, quickly? I think to the point that we're like sieging the Nexus turret.
the enemy
We're
Nexus turrets.
fighting. No, it's back. The when like we're sieging the Nexus basically. It's when the Nexus turret dies.
Your
I
your
just want to see that.
your
My
Nexus
Nexus.
turrets? Oh, your Nexus. Okay, sure.
So it's probably going to be close to now. Yeah, here I'm going to like stay at the tier 3 and try to find an opportunity. And
Yeah.
I just
So
want to see.
it starts right here already, right? You lose an eighth of your HP. It's already off to a bad start.
Yeah, so like just go forward a bit.
Yeah. Right here, same thing. Real quick. You
No,
lo- I, I'm I,
just a
I'm
bit forward.
I'm just letting you know that this is all leading up to the fight, where you're starting
Oh,
the
I see.
fight with a quarter less HP. It's very important to stay full HP.
Okay.
So this is all leading up to the major fight. You're now starting the fight with a quarter HP. Okay, you heal, but you see now you have to go heal where you should be already here or here waiting and having more opportunity, but you have to go heal because you're so low.
Yeah. So here you're going to flank and then like try to walk in. Is that what you mean by like going to the danger zone but never cross it?
Yes, pretty much this is good, but at the same time you can also be doing this on your I mean honestly I like your look here. I do like your look here, but this is exactly what I mean. You keep your HP as high as possible the whole time and you're not killing yourself. The big thing is you're not killing yourself here, but the other thing is look, you start the fight with full HP, which is perfect. Sometimes you go too close to the danger zone, you lose this HP, you lose this HP, and it makes the fight really hard. So this was a great example. I'm glad I saw you do this. I'll be honest. I'm really glad. Yeah, this was good. This was a good fight. And then you said later on in the game you could have won, but you got caught. So let's see really quickly. Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? You're already
Yeah,
doing,
here.
right? Like, what are you doing? See, you have
I'm trying.
this is the
I'm
solo
just trying
push.
to buff the minions. I
Yeah, but
like I want to win the game right here. I just waiting for my team buffing the minions, and then I get caught. And
right.
that's when
So
I lose.
so so these minions don't you cannot do anything on these minions. What does buffing these minions do?
Well, we're going to if these minions die, then like we go back to the middle of the map, and
Right, but can you
then
defend?
Raya respawns, and we
Can you defend these minions right now?
no.
It's impossible. So you cannot force things if it's impossible. You're doing the impossible right here, right? I mean, obviously, if you feel pressured, you're like, man, yeah, I have a time limit here, but you the next wave that's gonna spawn, you play on that wave, you can still win the game that way. Like, if your teammates are with you here, this is not a solo play, right? Now, this is a solo play. You cannot make plays like this. This is what loses games, like loses the opportunity of winning a game. or you guys have Elder and Baron here too. So you guys have both Elder and Baron here. Even if Xayah respawns soon, you guys can run down the mid lane when your teammates are up on this wave right here and win the game together. But you cannot be solo here any scenario. There's like almost no exception. Even if you have the most brilliant reason to, you know, buff up the minion wave, most, not most, 99% of the time, just do not be by yourself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how brilliant you think your play is. Do not be by yourself. You will win more games. It's a team game.
Okay.
All right. So we have a good game plan going forward. Try to lane invade. It's also okay to play a standard game, regardless of what you do level one. These are your options. Okay. Try to get the Herald. You have an idea of when to use the Herald. Okay. In the mid game, we talked about that's a good amount, but pretty much in the mid game, you want to follow the three concepts: waves, tempo, objectives, but really, really, really find your strong teammates and make plays around them. Also, you cannot, like, this is like essential in the mid game. You cannot die, you cannot get caught, you cannot make solo plays. If you die in the mid game and Baron's up, you lose Baron on the spot. Okay? If you're behind, you want to trade. If you're ahead, you want to get every objective you can. And to close out games, you have these options to think about. Um, but really, once we get to games where you feel like you can't, like, realistically, most of the time, if you can't close out a game, um, you're gonna need to learn more intense macro to figure out how to close a game ahead of time. Normally, the reason why you can't close out a game, if you experience things like that, is because there was either a fight before you messed up, or because you don't know how to play the macro sequence of the map, and it's kind of hard to teach the macro sequence of the map. But generally speaking, how you want to do this is you want two waves, you want mid wave and either side wave. After you get the mid wave in, you get vision, you play in the side wave, you go back to the mid wave, and you go back to the side wave. Okay, so what you can call this is wave, vision, wave, play. So let's say we were trying to break this bot tier 2 here. You would use this wave to go into the jungle safely, get vision, okay? Then you would push out this wave, then you go back to the mid wave, you clear the mid wave, then you go back to the bot wave, and then you break the tower then. So
Mm.
you use one wave to create vision, then you push this wave, you make sure your silence pushing it, and you make sure they're safe. Then you all walk back, you go to the second mid wave, you push that mid wave in, and then on the second bot wave, you break the turret with as many people as possible. Okay, but it's
I see. So like I look for pressure, wave pressure, then I look for vision, then I look for an action.
yes, that's the sequence you normally want to take the mid game macro in. But it's the most important thing is the mid waves in the mid game. You must clear the mid waves. So um, I can look really quickly. But the idea is like um, this dragon is coming up, um, and um, you see we're fight. Okay, this is a fight, so a fight's a fight. Um, no, we don't have to talk about this fight. But you see how this mid wave on both sides, both teams are leaving this mid wave B, and you guys are so far behind, and you're still fighting this fight anyway. Because you're behind, you want to be killing this Santa here, you want to be getting this mid wave, and you want to be going towards top. Right, in the mid game. But essentially, before objectives spawn, you want to be clearing this mid wave at all points. The mid wave is the most important thing for you to clear at all points. Clear the mid wave before they do, you'll have a better map state. That's the basic rule. Clear the mid wave, even if you're taking it from your own teammates. Just generate that pressure. It's completely worth it.
I see.
All right. Any other questions?
Mm, no, I think I think it's already a lot to
Yeah.
absorb.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.